Now, when it comes to ratioing, this is one of the best examples I've ever seen. 2,095 upvotes versus 258,343 downvotes and counting. Now, when you combine that with the fact that a certain petition has reached, get this, 1,774,878 signatures and counting, you notice it's aiming at 3 million right here. What that says about a person is that despite anything that they've won, they've really lost, right? And they've really lost big time. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that more. So hey there to all you wonderful folks, by the way. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I hope 2021 is something you're looking forward to, because I got this feeling it's just going to be fine. So today, you and I, by the way, we are returning to that wonderful, wonderful world of ratioing, and I think you're going to enjoy this one today too. Now, remembering those numbers that we just reviewed, because we're going to go back to those in just a minute, an interesting thing is transpiring when you come to the media versus, say, normal people. If you listen to the media, you would think that this person is in high demand. In fact, look at this portion of a headline. If you'd like to hire her to speak at your event, she can be booked for the princely sum of $33,000. In fact, the agency that is repping her, we're talking about the Harry Walker Agency, just to note that, the same one that is repping Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, says, quote, the agency describes her as, quote unquote, deeply moving, and says that hiring her is an excellent choice for a group or organization that's looking for, quote unquote, some much needed inspiration from a woman who walks day to day looking to be a contribution. Yeah, contribution indeed. Now, what astounds me is the way that the Harry Walker Agency describes this person, because you would think if all of these things were true, well, you would think that those numbers we're going to talk about in just a moment, they would actually link up with this description. So let's read this description. You're going to see the bullet points in front of you, but I'm just going to read over this. I'm going to go through it as fast as I can. So, renowned for her roles in films such as The Danish Girl, Her Smell, Aquaman, and Justice League, this person continues to build a successful career in Hollywood while simultaneously using that platform as a public figure to amplify her role as a humanitarian and to bring awareness to human rights issues. She is most passionate about including the alphabet rights, that's how I have to say this here, apologies for that, and fighting for the political, social, and economic aid and rights of refugees and migrants. She frequently visits locations around the world to fight on behalf of marginalized communities, from Syrian refugees, indigenous groups in Central America, to migrants at the U.S. border. You know, aka going on vacation. I guess that's out there fighting. She is most passionate about, indeed. An outspoken advocate for women's rights and the civil rights of survivors of all gender-based V around the world, this person works with organizations that encourage survivors to both personally and politically to come forward and reclaim their power. This person makes frequent trips to D.C. to lobby and fight on behalf of the civil rights of women and the numerable silent survivors of gender-based V. This person is a women's rights ambassador at the ACLU and was the first American actress to be named Human Rights Champion of the UN Human Rights Office. I swear. An eloquent and passionate speaker, this person has lent their voice to major global events like the UN Social Goods Summit, Global Citizen Festival, One Young World Conference, and the incredible Women Gala. Now, when you read through all of that stuff, it makes this sound like this person is in demand. This person is worth all of that. You would think with that kind of accolade, that kind of credential, that this person, they would be beloved. Now, an interesting thing happens with Access Hollywood that points out something about all of those words. It's the fact that they're just words. See, Access Hollywood, they have their own YouTube channel. You can see that in front of you here. They have over 1 million subscribers, and interestingly enough, that doesn't amount to that many views typically. If you look at that first one here, for example, 5 hours, 6.2K views. Second one, 10 hours, 18K views. 1 day, 25K views. 1 day, 65K views. 3 3 days, 7.8K views. I mean, it goes on and on and on like that. See, low turnout for subjects like this, it's pretty typical until you get to certain topics. And you'll notice those in the middle here. Notice those numbers. You have 2.4K. That's normal. Then you jump up to 1.5 million views. Then we go back to 10, 44, 10. 1.5 million views. Sounds like somebody's beloved, right? In fact, if you look at the views alone, the reality of that is much, much higher. You're talking about 1,511,191 views. That's since December 14th. So we're only talking about a few short weeks. And yeah, if you look at the comments here as well, people, they seem invested in this topic. You have 90,700 and counting comments. Again, quite a few there. Then when you start looking at other things, though, you start noticing the cracks in this facade. The numbers for upvotes versus downvotes. Now, the actual numbers for this are 2,145 upvotes sitting right now versus, look at this, downvotes, 269,236 down. The reason that this is, it's not just because of the interview either. The reason is because of the way the interview comes across. Now, the words that you see on the screen in front of you, they're from the description of this, and they say this is exactly what you would expect. There's absurdity in it. I mean, read that over. We'll talk about the absurdity in just a second. But yes, this is 1 minute and 36 seconds of quote-unquote interview, 12 seconds of outro, probably 30 seconds of actual interview, and the rest it's running someone through the mud. But this is what it says here. This person is reflecting on the lessons of 2020. I wish they would have said, by the way, my lesson here is I can get away with absolutely anything. You know, you just got to know the right people. And well, I knew all the right people, but of course they didn't say that. When asked what she learned while navigating this difficult year, I'm sure, dude, difficult for you. How would it have been for another person, by the way? The actress said, adapt and survive. Adapt and survive. The better you are in making changes internally, the better you have a chance of actually not just thriving, but surviving. That doesn't make sense, by the way, because surviving is the baseline. It is the bare minimum you can do. If you step up from that, you're thriving. So really, it should have read, the better chance you have of actually not just surviving, but thriving. That would have made sense, but hey, what do I know? I don't make $33,000 per speech, right? It is interesting, too, like I was saying, looking at the reality that the media is trying to spin here. Like I said, I just read you that, versus the reality that normal folks like you, I, and apparently millions of other people actually perceive. Again, you might have 1.5 million views. You might have that many comments. But what you wouldn't have if people were actually agreeing is an up-down ratio where somebody gets ratio to the point of, yeah, look at that. It's not the worst that I've ever seen, but it is one of the worst that I've ever seen. Now, to put that number into perspective, think about it in terms of population. Here's the 50th largest city in the United States, with New Orleans, Louisiana, at 396,766 people. Again, putting that number into perspective, it would be like over 2/3 of New Orleans popped up suddenly, said, yeah, I'm going to vote on this video. I mean, that's a lot of people saying, yeah, I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that at all. Now, those numbers, as impressive as they are, they don't amount to anything compared to a certain Change.org petition asking to have a certain person removed from Aquaman 2. That, it tells you exactly how people feel about this, but of course, all of these things here, they're not real people, right? I mean, that's what Warner Brothers has said. That's what this person said. 1,774,878 people and counting. You folks, you don't matter. I mean, really, really indeed. Now, to put those numbers into perspective, since we put the last ones into perspective, this would be like the 5th largest city in the United States going out and saying that they wanted to sign on to something, plus adding in a few towns to boot. See, the 5th largest city in the United States is Phoenix, Arizona. The population there is 1,711,356 people. So, all of those people, plus a few towns connected to it, they would have to go in, they would have to sign on to something. But again, All of that stuff doesn't matter. The media, they're telling you this person, they're worth $33,000 per interview. And maybe if you think that just views, just having people click onto something, that matters, maybe that does work out for you. But the reality that they're trying to sell with that, the reality that everybody loves that person, yeah, I'm not seeing that. And I'm sure you're not seeing that as well. But let me know in the comments what you think about this ratioing. What does it mean to? And do you think that it's going to mean any impact on movies going forward? Do you think that the things that this person is attached to, do you think they'll be hindered by it? Do you think it'll be status quo, business as usual? Like I said, let me know what you think. Also, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. You make this stuff possible. These places, they forgot about it. You can tell by the way they flagrantly ignore stuff like this they have. So yeah, remember that too. If you'd like to go forward, you'd like to go beyond that, help out the channel, there are links in the description. We have Patreon, PayPal, memberships, merchandise, of course our comic book, which closes in 2 weeks now. So check that out before it closes and starts getting printed and then shipped. But yeah, you being here, it matters. So thank you. I appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.